it's Alex here and I'm in Durban, South Africa. If you watched my last video in Hong Kong, I mentioned that I'm just out here for the holidays to visit family and spend some time back home, because it's been a while since I've been back home. Since living out in Asia for the last 3 years, I've only been back once in that period. Here you can see the promenade behind me and the beach over there. And in this video, I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about what it's like to come home after teaching English abroad and living out in Asia for so long. Tell you a bit about what that's like. So if you're thinking of teaching English abroad, you can know what it's going to be like to come back. Just by the way, I am going back to Asia in 2017, so if you subscribe to this channel because you want to see more content about that, don't worry, I'll be back and making more videos, and I'll also make some videos with content about teaching English in Asia while I'm here in South Africa, and maybe show you a bit of the country too if you're interested. But yeah, let's crack into the video. So these are my parents. We're here at the beachfront. How are you doing?
Oh,
great.
Awesome.
Wonderful
to have you home.
back.
We finish each other's sentences and say things at the same time. That's what happens when you've been married for 28 years. We produced a pretty good kid as well.
Yeah, we're very proud of him.
I think Alex is going to do lots of editing of this.
Great to live here in Durban.
Nice beachfront day here in Durban, and I'm going to go for a swim. So nice. Let's get a swim in. It's been a while since we've been to the beach. Last time was Thailand, I think. See you at home. I guess the first thing to say is that it's going to be a readjustment going back home, and this is the same for when you're actually arriving in the country for the first time. You've probably been traveling for a long time. There's a change of time zones, so you're going to be feeling a little groggy and out of it, which is how I felt when I arrived home. So kind of be easy on yourself with that, whether it's when you're arriving or going home. But it's going to be a bit of a change. So there's a couple of things I've noticed already being back here. We're just doing a bit of shopping right here, and I think that's going to be a big one for people who live in, say, the US or UK or Australia. It's going to seem a lot more expensive going home after you've been in Vietnam, for example. South Africa here is actually quite cheap, so I was just looking at the prices in the grocery store, quite comparable to Vietnam actually. So we've got it nice here. But it's a big price difference for other Western countries, I know that for sure. Another thing, so obviously it's going to vary from country to country, but the first thing that I noticed here was just how laid back South Africa is, and especially Durban, my hometown, that's where I am right now. It's so much more chilled out than big cities in Asia. So whether you're in Korea or Thailand or Vietnam, all the big cities like Seoul and Ho Chi Minh City and Bangkok are kind of crazy and chaotic, So yeah, check it out. I'm here at my parents' house and it's just so peaceful. I think that's one of the things about living in big cities in Asia, is it can get chaotic, it can get a bit overwhelming. I highly recommend that you take trips outside of the city when you're living in the big cities. That's usually where all the jobs are, so in the big cities is where most of the work is found. For me, it's just like the peace and tranquility. Like it's really beautiful out here in South Africa. And not that it's not in Asia, there's definitely places. So the other big thing I noticed, and again this may vary from country to country, but South Africa is very multicultural. Just walking along the beachfront, you see all sorts of different people from different backgrounds. Whereas Asia, particularly, is very monocultural. In countries like South Korea, for example, 98% of the population are Koreans. So it's a very monocultural kind of society that you're living in. And that means that there isn't that much diversity for the most part. Now there's upsides and downsides to that. The upside is it's a very distinct culture you're living in, and you get to know what that's like and all the different nuances of it and all the characteristics of a certain culture. But it is something that I miss, is having that diversity, because a country like South Africa is very diverse. Overall, coming back after such a long time abroad hasn't been too difficult. I've actually kind of just fallen right back into things here. I do feel like I've grown a lot. It's that fish and water effect, you know. If you are in your own culture, you don't realize that you're in it and notice all the different aspects of the culture you're in. So once I went abroad and lived in all these different countries, you know, 8 new countries in Asia, and now I've been to 25 countries in total, you know, coming back, you get to analyze and look at your own country's culture from a very different point of view, because you've experienced a lot of different things. So I've come back here and started to really appreciate some of the things here. Like I mentioned, it's very laid back, and that's something about the city too, Durban. Even in South Africa, it's known as a laid back city, and South Africa is kind of a laid back country. So I really like that. Like, I forgot all about it, and I really like that aspect of it. Again, the multicultural nature and the acceptance among different people here in South Africa. It can be a little tough when you're abroad in countries like Vietnam and South Korea. Even Thailand, one of the most like open Asian countries. You do feel like an outsider to a certain degree, and that's why I think a lot of teachers living out in those countries hang out with other teachers as well. Not because they don't like the locals. I know this for myself. Like, I've met so many cool locals, but sometimes you do feel like an outsider there, and that's why hanging out with other people who are in a similar boat as you can be quite nice. You know, it feels good. You have shared commonalities and shared experiences to a certain degree, because a lot of English-speaking countries have a lot of similarities, whereas a lot of Asian countries have similarities, but it can be quite different from the West, quote unquote. Alright, those are just a couple of things off the top of my head. If anyone has any comments about this, any interesting thoughts or observations about what it's like going home after traveling or living abroad, let me know. I'd be interested to hear, and we can start a discussion down in the comments. But yeah, look out for other videos I'm going to be putting out. I'll do a few cool ones on South Africa just to show those who are interested what the country's like a bit. I know some of the audience are South Africans who watch these YouTube videos, but there are a lot of Americans, people from the UK, etc., etc. So I'll put out a few videos here, but this channel is still going to be focused very much on teaching English abroad. So stay tuned for more content about that, and I'll be speaking to you very soon. Peace.